Happy December, everyone, and welcome to the first week of our Christmas series. Crazy, right? This year's flown by. It's hard to believe it's already Christmas time. How's your Christmas list doing? Do you know exactly what you want, or are you still trying to figure it out? And have you watched any Christmas movies yet? If so, which ones? Oh, and how about which one's your favorite? How about your favorite Christmas song? Oh, and how about what kind of food do you like to eat at Christmas Day? There are a lot of questions that we'd like to ask around Christmas time. But are we asking the really important ones? All the Christmas traditions and celebrations are fun and all, but let's not miss out on what Christmas really has to offer. What if we started asking this question? How's your soul? I know you might be thinking, wow, we just went really deep really quick. And you're right, we did. But think about it. How often do we ask that question around Christmas time? For the most part, we hear, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And we assume everyone's happy and jolly, but as we move into the Christmas season, I really want to consider this question. How is your soul doing? What does your relationship with God look like right now? Today we're starting our 3-week Christmas series called Evergreen. Now, as you might already know, an evergreen tree is the type of tree that we use around Christmas time. It makes sense because it's the only tree this time of year that still has leaves on it. It's a tree specifically designed to be able to withstand the brutal conditions of winter. We're going to spend the weeks leading up to Christmas talking about how each one of us can develop an evergreen faith. A faith that can withstand every season of life, no matter how difficult. We're going to focus on 3 things that we hear a lot about around Christmas time: joy, peace, and hope. I believe these 3 things are essential to developing a faith that is evergreen. You know, for a lot of people, Christmas is a really happy time of year. The movies, music, shopping, presents, family time, candy, desserts, ham, and turkey for all you turkey people out there. I mean, who wouldn't be in a good mood after all these things? The problem is, what happens on December 26th? What happens when all the lights come down and snow becomes more of a massive inconvenience than a Christmas miracle? You see, Christmas makes a lot of people happy, which is fine, but it only lasts so long. Happiness is temporary and is based on our circumstances. The good news is Christmas offers us way more than just temporary happiness. Christmas is a catalyst for true and lasting joy. I think a great example of this joy that Christmas brings is found in Mary, Jesus' mother. Now let's pause for a second. Let's recognize how crazy of a situation Mary was put into. I mean, seriously, try to imagine. Mary is a teenage girl who's never been married and never had sex. Her family isn't well known in her town, and she doesn't have a lot of money. Then, out of nowhere, an angel appears to her to let her know that she was about to become pregnant with the Savior of the world that God had been promising for years. What? I mean, that's insane. Understandably, Mary had some questions right away. She was struggling to understand what was about to happen. But after a visit to her cousin Elizabeth, who reassured her that everything the angel said really was going to happen, Mary burst into song. You heard that right, like a musical. Here are some of the opening lines from her song, and it's found in Luke chapter 1, verses 46 through 48. My soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, who has been mindful of the humble state of his servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me. You don't just burst into song unless you're experiencing some serious joy. Mary realized everything that God was doing and how life would never be the same, and she was celebrating how amazing it was that God chose her. In her song, she recognizes that God was doing, and not just the here and now, but also what he was going to do in the future. She was praising God for what he's doing now and for what he's going to do for the rest of eternity. Now that is some joy. It's a joy that comes from trusting God and trusting in his perfect plan. It's a joy that comes from having a bigger perspective than what's just directly in front of you. Think about it. Do you really think that Mary's pregnancy was always rainbows and butterflies? No way. Do you think that she would have chosen this responsibility for herself? I actually really doubt it. In fact, I can imagine that this pregnancy may have been one of the most difficult things Mary had ever experienced. I can picture the dirty looks that she got from people who saw she was pregnant and that she wasn't married. Being pregnant and delivering a baby is difficult enough as it is, but it was way more difficult 2,000 years ago. and even life-threatening. And can you imagine the awkwardness Mary had to walk through the first time she tried to explain to Joseph what in the world was going on? I talk about all this to highlight the truth that Mary chose joy. Being pregnant with the Savior of the world comes with a lot of weight and responsibility. And to be completely honest, it probably did not always produce feelings of happiness for Mary. But Mary chose a higher perspective. She chose to trust that God was at work and would accomplish something miraculous through her. She chose to be honored by the fact that she was chosen by God, and she chose to be a faithful steward of that responsibility. And she trusted that God would sustain her through even the most difficult and painful moments of her pregnancy. Mary looked to God's bigger plan, the redemption of the world through his son Jesus, and her role in this plan, and that produced a joy in her. So much joy that she couldn't help but sing. Joy so often can rise or fall on our perspective. What story are we looking at? Are we focused only on the things happening in our own little world, or can we remove the blinders and see God's bigger plan in all of this? What does this look like for your life? In what areas of your life are you struggling to find joy, or if you're being completely honest, it doesn't even seem like joy is possible? I hope that this Christmas season, and more importantly, the Christmas story, can be a source of true and lasting joy that would last far beyond December 26th. I want to encourage you to dig into the story. Read Luke chapters 1 and 2 daily if you'd like. Go over the story over and over again until it's ingrained in your mind and in your heart. The Christmas season will make a lot of people feel happy, but the Christmas story is where we can find true and lasting joy.
Hey, thanks so much for checking out our YouTube channel. Northview Students is committed to dropping videos weekly that make you laugh and challenge you in your faith. If you're enjoying the video, click that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our new content. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later.